Assuming you read the title of this video, you're probably expecting a case for Donald Trump. It's not what this is. Title's clickbait. But today I want to talk about the problems with another Trump's presidency, how that'll affect America, how his first term affected America, everything in between, kind of what to expect. My name's Eric, or Ty, whichever one you want to call me. I make videos about stuff I like, stuff I don't like. This one, definitely the later part of that. And seeing a lot of people, even some people I respect, considering Trump's first term as president a success. And I just think that's ridiculous. I think you are nostalgic about the time, 2016 to 2020. If you actually get down into the nitty-gritty of what was being done and said by Donald Trump at the time, he did not assist America in any way. The biggest thing he did was make the disparity between the top 1% and the lower class much wider. Tax cuts he implemented far more benefited billionaires and wealthy elite more than, the average person. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was signed in 2017 that gave a permanent corporate income tax cut to corporations. Of course, they claim that this has a trickle-down effect. There's no fucking way. And any tax cuts he had that might have applied to middle or lower class get sunsetted in 2025, so ultimately it's nothing. But those corporate tax cuts are good until at least 2027, but we know he's going to extend them. A big fault of his presidency was his Supreme Court justices he put into power. You can thank Ruth Bader Ginsburg, God bless her soul. If she would have chosen to retire a few years earlier instead of dying with the seat, then maybe Roe v. Wade would have never been overturned. Since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it's basically your location that chooses if you have proper health care as a woman in America. Any southern red state has had a very large uptick in women mortality during pregnancy. So unless you like when women die, the overturning of Roe v. Wade was an abhorrent step back in American history. People also seem to praise Trump's foreign policy and his operations overseas. The peaceful dove claim and whatnot. In reality, that's stupid. His foreign policy decisions escalated the tensions in the Middle East and Israel 50-fold, from relocating the American embassy in Israel to Jerusalem, as well as excluding the Palestinians from the Abraham Accords, ultimately writing them out of any conversation of self-determination. His moves in the Middle East are a big cause for the genocide happening to the Palestinians in Gaza. Yes, he hasn't contributed the weapons to it yet. He will. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they are to blame for the genocide happening in Gaza. But to say that Trump had zero hand is ridiculous. I do not think October 7th happens if Donald Trump wasn't president. At least not so soon. And during all of Trump's presidency, America was divided. And that's because we had a bigot in office. Before he ever even became a politician, he was a known racist. From taking an ad out in the newspaper in New York for the Central Park Five, claiming that they should all be put to death, to housing discrimination lawsuits with him and his dad for not renting to black tenants. And while we had riots happening with actual Nazis saying Nazi shit in the streets, all Trump could say was, "There are good people on both sides," or "Proud Boys stand back and stand by." Having a bigot in office makes racists and Nazis far more expressive. What ultimately lost Donald Trump his first chance at re-election was his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. From delaying lockdown measures and downplaying the pandemic's severity, to publicly spreading misinformation to the American people and subsequently the world, America was underprepared and failed during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. America had the 14th most deaths per 1 million population, and of all of the OECD nations, we are among one of the worst. And during this whole time, before, during, and after, bro was involved in mischievous activities. From being great friends with prolific sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, to paying off porn stars for sex with, a wife and kid at home and hiding it in his tax documents, as well as sexually assaulting women in clothing changing rooms. This motherfucker Trump is a demon. A criminal, a demon. Now, Donald Trump enters his second term, promising the largest mass deportation campaign in American history. He says there's 20 million of them. There's not. And everyone from fully undocumented to partially documented to even born on American soil has a chance of being deported. Why? Because they're criminals and they take from the system. But do they? No. Undocumented immigrants are less likely to commit violent crimes than natural-born US citizens. This is easily researchable. Really, undocumented citizens are the safest motherfuckers you can be around. As it turns out, people don't rape and murder when they don't want to be sent off to a country they fled from. They'd rather stay out of the eyes of the law. And undocumented immigrants can't take from the system. When's the last time you filled out anything federally that didn't have a social security number slot on it? They don't have social security numbers. They can't take anything from the system. They put into the system by paying sales taxes and working, and put in far more than they're ever going to be able to take out. 1 in 15 Americans live in a mixed documentation household. Which means if Trump wants to do the plans that he has been talking about, 1 in 15 of the people watching this video are gonna have a family member just taken from their home. The illegal immigrants in America have a right to seek asylum. The only way you can seek asylum is by being an illegal immigrant. What we should be focusing on, instead of sending out these productive members of society, who not only enrich our pockets but our culture, is to be giving them documentation. We should be naturalizing these immigrants at a crazy pace. But how will Trump do it? How will he get these plans in action? Well, now that all 3 branches of government are in power of Republicans, he will have no problem. I mean, just take a look at his cabinet and his administrative picks. Tom Homan is a fucking freak. He's already gotten fucking awards from Barack Obama for mass deportations, and he is licking his chops at the idea of splitting apart families and sending them away from the fucking country. He loves it. But he got plenty of other fucking freaks for him too. Whether it be pedophiles like Matt Gaetz, conspiracy theorists like RFK Jr., healthcare demon Vivek Ramaswamy, illegal immigrant Nepo baby Elon Musk. I mean, the man chose a McMahon to run education. All she knows is WWE, bro. I mean, these cabinet picks are unfucking hinged. And if even most of them get put through, he will be able to do whatever he wants whenever he wants, because these are all yes men and people who crave power. But aside from, our civil liberties or friends, family, and neighbors, what is Trump gonna do for us? Is he gonna fix our groceries? Is he gonna bring our rent down? Oh yeah, he wants to place tariffs on, every country in the world, basically. And what does that do? Nothing but drive prices up. Tariffs drive up prices for consumers, because these companies that are forced to implement this tax on international businesses will still buy that product. They are just going to put that extra cost on the consumers. They're not just gonna drop everything they're doing and start making it in America. There's no reason for them to do that. Not only is there no incentive to make things in America, not everything can be made in America. All this will do is raise prices of groceries and materials and strain our international trade relationship. Trump can say the problems that hinder America, but then he just uses it as justification to demonize others. He has no productive plans for this country. Instead, he wants to blame the problems of the country on people who help it more than others. And those others that he wants to demonize, he wants to round up into camps and then send them off to whatever country. Except that's pretty expensive. Who knows? Maybe once he gets them in those camps, it'll be cheaper just to fucking kill them. Sounds like someone else in history. Demonizing a group for the problems of the country, managing to persuade people into believing that it is their fault, rounding them up into camps, saying you're gonna send them off. And then ultimately, there's only one final solution. But I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. I do not wish for America's downfall. Unfortunately, I'm just relaying a message that Trump has been telling us. Ultimately, Trump has this one thing on his mind, and that's executing his power, making him and his friends richer, and obviously staying out of jail. But tell me if I'm tripping. Tell me if, Trump was lying about the mass immigration shit and was just saying that to get elected. He's not actually gonna mass deport people. Or tell me how tariffs are great and how they're gonna help the economy. Because at the end of the day, when I look at Trump's rhetoric, his actions, his cabinet picks, I don't see a lot of hope for America going forward. So talk to your friends, family, co-workers, find a coalition of people who understand these negative impacts and try to make a change in your city, try to make a change in your town, try to make a change in your neighborhood. And when deportation officers come knocking on your door, don't rat out the illegal immigrants, please. And don't check my attic. Ultimately, I love you. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more of me, you can check my Instagram. That's where I keep updated on things like my writing or anything I'm putting out. Subscribe if you want to see more YouTube videos. And if you got something to say. I don't really care about likes. YouTube doesn't really care about likes. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.